Scott Wheeler of The Athletic, who has been releasing his yearly prospect pool rankings. The Penguins, over the years, have been a fixture in the bottom five, 30th, 31st. Last year it was 27th, which was a great jump for this organization. Well, this year they've moved all the way up to 20th on Scott Wheeler's prospect pool big board. He says, quote, while they still lack a true high-end piece, their pool is deeper and stronger today than it has been in a while. I actually had to leave players off of it instead of searching for guys to include. So I would say, compared to what we've heard, very nice words, very good flowers given to the Pittsburgh Penguins prospect pool. Your thoughts on them receiving praise for their system?
I'm about it. I've been saying for a little while now, at least since Kyle Dubas started sort of adding to the list, that the Penguins have a far better prospect pool than people are giving credit for. I know it might be a bunch of, at the moment at least, projections to be depth guys, projections to be middle six guys. That's just not the way I totally see it. I mean, I get where a lot of those projections are coming from, but I mean, Rutger McGroarty, it could have been Braden Yeager, but now McGroarty is going to lead the pack and genuinely could be a great piece for the Penguins in the future. I'm not saying Sidney Crosby level. Nobody is. But could be a top-line player if he continues progressing in the right way and maybe finds chemistry with other guys and hits the right tune. And that's a big thing that is impossible to predict, the kind of chemistry that prospects may build with someone. But he's going to lead the way. And then there's just been a ton of surprising names almost. The way Sergei Miroshov has come in and, lit the world on fire in his time in North America. The way Blomqvist has jumped to the NHL level slightly before people expected. The way Harrison Brunik is impressing very quickly after joining the organization. Sam Poulin's fallen off, so you really can't count him. But Ville Koivunen had a great game last night, and is putting his name on that list. And ever since Kyle Dubas got here, he's just been adding names. It's been part of the prerogative, and it's paying off in a big way. And I don't think I'd say the Penguins prospect pool is top 10, but hell, I think I'd say it's better than 20. That's just me, though. I mean, I've been watching this one and not looking around, but I'd say it's way better than what a lot of people give it credit for, and it's good to see it finally get more credit than normal.
Yeah, I think 20 is about right. Like last year when it was 27, I was like, okay, that seems a little bit low. But this year at 20, that feels right. Because I agree with Scott. They don't have that true high end. Hey, this guy is going to change a lot of things. They don't have that Consta Hellenius. They don't have that Macklin Celebrini. They don't have that Connor Bedard. Now, those players are one of one, but they don't have guys like Shane Wright who went fourth overall. They don't. Like they have, I guess, yes, Puljujärvi who went fourth overall, but that was a long, long time ago. And it has been a while since he has been considered a prospect. So when it comes to being ranked 20th and everything that Scott had to say in that piece, I think it's justified. I think the praise is justified for the Penguins and the work that they've done with this unit in such a small amount of time. Like you mentioned, there are names that are from prior front offices that have kind of stepped up. I think Tristan Brose deserves some flowers as well for the strides he took last year in his last season at the NCAA level, and this year in his first year at the AHL level. And then guys like Taylor Gauthier, who is gone from, hey, he's a prospect, to he was the ECHL goalie of the year last year. Like these guys are starting to make strides in their development that I don't think a lot of us were expecting. Now with that, there are some other prospects that have started to head the other direction and headed over the hill, like a Sam Poulin. Now people are kind of saying, wow, that was a first round pick that if you look at it, he's not near the NHL right now. Like he is probably third, fourth, maybe even fifth on the call-up list for the Pittsburgh Penguins. But I think specifically this jump is due to how many pieces, and you alluded to this, that they have added since last March alone. And they're all pieces that are near or at the top of the prospect list. I mean, Scott Wheeler put his rankings up there of the top 15 for the Penguins. 1.1, Rutger McGroarty, brought in this year. 1.2, Harrison Brunik, who was drafted in the second round this year. Then you add in Koivunen. Then you add in Tanner Howe. Then you add in Cruz Lucius, who has been impressing at the NCAA level. And you kind of put all the pieces together and say, yeah, there is a lot more depth here than there has been in probably a decade, probably since there was the mass exodus of prospects to the NHL level in 2016 and 17, when Brian Rust was called up, when Tom Kuhnhackl was called up, when Scotty Wilson was called up. And then, of course, Jake Gensel was kind of the cherry on top in 2017. I'm not saying these guys are going to turn into those guys, specifically a Jake Gensel, but they're certainly making strides and showing to be better than initially kind of expected to be. Now, a few of these guys could be ready right now. And I think that is huge for the Penguins. Wilkes-Barre Scranton is absolutely lighting up the American Hockey League. They won 9-0 against the back-to-back defending champion Hershey Bears last night. As you mentioned, Ville Koivunen had a night, 4 goals for him. Vasily Ponomarev added a hat trick. Sergei Murashov got his first career shutout at the American Hockey League level. But as far as Koivunen and Ponomarev, I think both could be in Pittsburgh late this season. I think there's a realistic shot that we see one or both of them to close out the year.
Yeah, depending on how the trade deadline goes and depending on where the Penguins are in the standings, that's absolutely a real possibility, a real chance that, you know, maybe they're not throwaway games, but they are pretty much throwaway games. And it's, you know, the lineup's kind of gotten depleted. Who knows who's gone by the deadline? There are spaces opening up to see what you guys can do at the NHL level. I'm sure that without looking at the end of the Penguin schedule, I'm sure they have a bunch of games against playoff contenders and against playoff teams. It's pretty much most of the Metro right now. Those are going to be big games for the Penguins' opponents, or tune-up games even. So they're going to be giving it their all. Seeing what these guys can do against top-end talent in a playoff push, or at least going up against a playoff push, could be huge for them and their proof of what they can do at the NHL level. I'm excited to see that. I could see them coming up the end of the year too. Again, just depends on where the Penguins stand and what the lineup looks like. But by all means, it seems very likely that that's the way to go for those guys at the end of this year.
Yeah, Kelsey Surmatz, a friend of the show from the Hockey News, was campaigning for Ponomarev to be called up now instead of calling up Jesse Puljujarvi and putting him at fourth line center, letting Lizotte move over to the wing, probably bumping Boko Imama down. But I mean, I agree with Kelsey. I think that there needs to be chances given to these young guys because they've earned it, especially guys like Ponomarev, guys like Koivunen. McGroarty has been doing good, but I'm not sure they're willing to risk kind of stunting his kind of growth and development and the momentum that he's built down at the AHL level. I think you're going to be a little bit more protective over Rutger McGroarty. So I think you're going to want to see him become a more finished product than he already is, which is crazy how many strides he's taken in his first year as a professional.